Markets Now is brought to you by DuraStack Trait Technology, the latest innovation from Syngenta. Available for the 2027 season, DuraStack technology features 3 powerful modes of action to outsmart, outmaneuver, and outmatch corn rootworms every move.
Welcome to Markets Now. I'm Michelle Rook with DuWayne, Bosse of Bolt Marketing. A sharp down day in the livestock futures, grains to the plus side, led by double-digit gains in the soybean market. DuWayne, let's talk about soybeans. New highs for the move. We extended the rally that started on Wednesday. We're still trying to price in this additional China business, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm one of the guys that doesn't really believe that they're going to buy all this old crop from us, but it doesn't matter what little DuWayne Bosse thinks in his office in Northeast South Dakota. The funds obviously are our buyers of this. We had record volume yesterday, good solid volume today. The trade action looks to me like the funds are buying into this. And when you go back to the Commitment of Trade reports last week, they were fairly flat, the soybean market. So they have a lot of buying power. So, I don't know how high we can go. It'll depend on the funds, I guess.
Yeah, it's supposed to be for this marketing year. Is it going to be old crop or new crop?
The story is, and what the bulls want to believe, that it's old crop purchases, and yeah, it's like 294 million bushels or something. And of course, with our ending stocks just over 300, that would tell you like, well, we're going to run out of beans. We need to ration demand. Man, what a change from even 2 days ago. I don't think that's what happens here. It mostly, I'm just looking at the economics behind it. I understand there's politics involved, and maybe China wants to keep Trump happy. He's scheduled to go there in April on a trip. But for China, it's always been about economics. And Brazil was $1 cheaper before this rally than our soybeans. And so if they really would buy 800 million metric ton from us, the cost would be about $400 million more than they could have bought it from Brazil. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think what happens, Michelle, is after a while and debate back and forth and more social media posts, we end up finding that they're promising again to buy new crop beans from us. And maybe it's only 20 million metric ton versus the 25 they promised before, which would be a little comical to me, because then it's actually less than they were promising a week ago.
So what do you think as far as technically, how much higher do we have to go to price this in? Or technically now, how far will the funds push this?
That's the $1 million question. So you can probably tell from me, I'm not buying into this. I think farmers need to sell and reward it. The problem is, how high can it go? When should they sell? Technically, I'd say our first resistance is really $11.50. I mean, we closed above $11 today, so I think $11.50 is your next resistance. Then the highs from November, which are like $11.72, I believe. And I can't even really believe I'm saying those numbers with this monster crop we got coming in South America again. But, I learned many years ago, you follow the funds, you don't fight them.
For sure. So corn market, did it just follow soybeans here today, or was that something else that moved the market?
It was almost like a delayed reaction, because the corn market did not follow soybeans yesterday. At one point, soybeans were up 49.50 cents and corn's up a penny. That just didn't make sense to me. So it almost feels like a delayed reaction. I like the trade action today in corn. I like this is the highest close we've had in a long time, this 435 area. But does it have any bullish news by itself? Probably not. Other than the fact that I guess if soybeans are going to rally 50 cents to $1, maybe we got a bit of an acre battle coming down the road. It's crazy how these stories have changed since just a couple days ago. But nice close in corn. It will meet farmer selling though again too.
We closed right up into that 435 resistance area though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And I think it was 434 the last time we got up here and farmers started increasing sales. And I actually was getting texts from clients, as we're setting up this interview saying, I sold some more old crop corn, and, I'm doing a good job. That's from here on up, I tell them to do scale up sales, even though I'm fairly bullish the corn market longer term because of the world stocks being down, but we don't have that bullish story right now to really spark a huge rally. Weather scare in the safrinha corn crop or something that would really get a rally going in corn.
If corn has to follow soybeans to compete for acres, how many acres would we have to see shifted for corn really to break out of this trading range that we're in?
I think we got to see more than 3.5 million acres shift. And I think everyone's kind of in that area right now of a 3 million acre shift. And not because soybeans are that much more economical. It's just that none of the economics work. And maybe we plant more soybeans, because it's a cheaper crop to plant. Just overall, if you plant 99 million acres of corn, you normally see a pullback, to a little bit more normal rotation. But as you and I know, you get this far north, for us, it'll depend on spring weather and ultimately price come spring. So that's, this job is fun because it's always changing. Like I said, soybeans now, if November beans are going to rally from $11 higher, I'm going to keep selling it, reward it. And if you're going to sell and reward it, then you better plant those acres or plant a little bit more acres. So yeah, acres shifting all the time.
Wheat market was also up today. Yesterday, it didn't follow soybeans. Did it follow soybeans today, or was this just short covering?
Yeah, I think, again, it was a delayed reaction following soybeans today, but also short covering, like you mentioned. The funds are rather large shorts in the wheat complex, and they've been that way for 4 years straight. They've been just rolling their positions to a deferred contract and letting the market come down to it and making money that way. But I do wonder, when I look at the wheat market in general, it does feel like $5 is really strong support. And remember, if you're short the market, it has to keep going lower to make money. So maybe the funds are kind of getting a little tired of the wheat complex, not making them much money. So maybe the short covering rally would be them getting out of their short positions. And the US dollar trending lower probably makes that market look a little bit bullish as well.
DuWayne, is there any concern at all left in this market about winter kill in the wheat, whether it's US or Ukraine or any place else?
I really don't think so anymore. We had our little scare for the US here a couple weeks back with the winter storm we had. And then late last week, there was talk that Ukraine was going to be seriously, bitterly cold and winter kill there. And we kind of erased all that early this week. So no, I don't think there's any weather premium in this market now.
And DuWayne, we did see new highs for the move on Wednesday, but Thursday we tanked in the cattle market, and it was because of this plant strike in Greeley.
Yeah, supposedly the union met for like an all-day meeting, and at the end, they, like 99% of them voted that if we need to strike to get better deals, we will strike. And that struck fear kind of into the futures market. That's a huge plant in Greeley, Colorado. So if they would be down for any amount of time, that would, hurt the market. I don't know, on a personal note, I'm kind of like, oh gosh, don't strike or do anything crazy like that right now. Packers aren't making a ton of money. They might be totally okay to shut a plant down in the short term. So I hope they get things resolved. Now, what I read about it is, they're not striking today. It's just a tool they might use. So I kind of feel like the market overdid it a little bit to the downside here, but maybe there's some profit taking, some short covering there too. Also wasn't a great chart formation yesterday, the way it closed. So maybe it might be just a one-day deal where the sellers have control of this market.
We also had a lower stock market today. Did the cattle market get caught up in this money flow again?
I think so too. When I got to the close of the markets today, if I step back and look at everything, cattle, which have been crazy high, the stock market, which has been crazy high, they're both selling off. And in general, corn, wheat, soybeans are all low when you think of the inflation numbers of everything else. So it felt like it was a big money move, a money flow thing. And how much happens, I guess you just got to watch the trade action and the volume to see, to me, the way soybeans closed today and traded, it looks like this money flow thing will continue more. I don't look for it to really dive the cattle market down much though, Michelle, because the fundamentals are still very strong and the cash market is now back above the futures. So I wouldn't doubt to see a bounce back tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have to see what this does for cash, if we can be higher. I saw bids today basically being passed, but they look like they were at a little higher money.
I think we're going to be higher again, Michelle. I mean, not that my local sale barns in South Dakota are any indication what happens nationwide, but they've been very strong here this week. Corn's cheap, still cheap, even though we were up today. I think demand is so strong. I think you will grind higher, but futures market can do whatever it wants to on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, we did have lower box beef values at noon as well, so I'm sure that didn't help the psychology.
No, a little bit lower. I think that helped the bears keep control of this market into the close. But you and I both know, box beef is still very high and demand is still very strong, and there just isn't much supply. I mean, the plant closure talk this morning or strike, it all makes me nervous and makes me think, as producers, we probably need to have hedges in place here somewhere. But if I'm bullish in the short term, it's really hard for me to get clients to sell. But something will happen someday to stop this market. But right now, I just say it has full potential to go make all-time highs again, or at least to beat the highs we had in 2025.
And hogs hit new contract highs yesterday and then pulled back today. So profit taking, or was that spillover from cattle or what?
I think just profit taking and money flow there too. That market's been fairly strong. Exports were good this morning. Exports were actually pretty good for beef too, which is the first time I could probably say that in 3 years. The hog market, I'm not that worried about. It seems strong. When I say I'm not worried about it, though, I still look at those summer months, above 110 and go, gosh, I think we need to hedge this. So the few producers we have, not that we're a big hog area up here, but we are hedging out there. Not because I'm bearish, just because this is the level, Michelle, 2 months ago, I didn't think we were going to get to. So reward the market when it does things like that.
Yeah, you get those summer months above 110. I can't believe there wouldn't be some producers that would jump on that, right?
Yeah, and they are, and now maybe the funds can keep driving it higher and create a little bit of pain there in the short term. But from what I understand, the profit's there. And, at times these markets are so complex, right? But at times you just try to keep it simple. If you're making money, go ahead and make the sale.
Gotcha. Thanks so much. That's DuWayne Bosse with Bolt Marketing and Markets Now.
With corn rootworm costing farmers up to $1 billion a year, you need the right strategy. Introducing DuraStack trait technology, featuring 3 powerful modes of action to strike corn rootworm at full force, outsmart, outmaneuver, and outmatch their every move with the industry's first triple BT protein stack built for corn rootworm control. Take back your yield potential. Make your move at durastack.com. Available for the 2027 season.